You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. The discredited face of America. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. An article in GB News, described as Britain's news channel, by Erbil Ganasti, poses this observation. Harry's wife is the discredited face of an entitled, woke America. Is this another cannonball hurtling into her facade? Is this an unfair observation? It's clearly a challenge, but how accurate is it? It starts off stating Duchess of Sussex broke down stereotypes, but now even her own country wants her to shut up. For Americans, Harry's wife was never a star. When she became infamous in the United Kingdom as the Hollywood actress dating Prince Harry, most Americans are simply, who? But now she has finally found her role as the discredited face of a degenerating America. In the new, divided United States, about half the population choose to believe that they are entitled to everything, anything, without the need to spend a lifetime working hard for it, and then, inevitably, they complain about their lot in life. In that sense, Harry's wife has become the poster child for behaviour which seems to have infected the country and is rapidly spreading throughout the entire world. Now, pausing there, she is a narcissist, we've established that. There are many narcissists, as I've explained, roughly 1 in 6 of the population. It's far more than people realise. But to talk about half of a country being essentially the behaving as narcissists, well, it's not that high. But there is, of course, an increase in narcissistic behaviour, meaning that people's narcissistic traits come more to the fore. It doesn't mean that they're narcissists. So what can happen is that the larger group, the normals, and another group, the narcissistic individuals, their narcissistic traits come to the fore. Normal people, not particularly having empathy for people that they don't know, start to behave as a consequence of a herd mentality, whereby they're driven by their more narcissistic traits, catering to showcasing, selfishness, being argumentative, acting in an entitled way. They still have emotional empathy, but it isn't on display as often. And part of this can be the fact that certain movements, certain mindsets engender that. Combine it with a world which, of course, as I've explained elsewhere, caters more and more for narcissists in terms of acting with a sense of entitlement and absence of accountability, that there are these generational differences that have occurred. Now, of course, you're always going to be able to point to individuals who, amongst that demographic, buck the trend, undoubtedly so. But there is an increase in narcissistic behaviours which make it easier for my kind to move amongst the general populace. The article continues by explaining, until the turn of the century, American film stars and Hollywood A-listers were in huge demand, revered across the world as hard-working icons to universally admire and respect. Politically correct was still in the closet. There was no cancel culture, which has emerged only in the past decade. Black Lives Matter was not the soup du jour either. Race, as a social issue, had to some extent been on the back burner. Of course, incidents flared up here and there, not least in California, and it is now that most progressive of states, which has been raging out of control since 1992, that sums up the whole Harry's wife problem. Once the golden state of the Union, it has been run by globalist Democrats since 1992, except when Arnold Schwarzenegger was the Republican governor for a few years. And they have ruined the economy and eroded both political trust and social cohesion. As California retreated into its own weighty shadow, the underprivileged and disadvantaged in the real world suffered as it became an iniquitous magnet for woke, self-obsessed celebrities. This is America degenerating in front of our eyes. the haves lauding their moral superiority over a have-not populace that is struggling to put food on the table. And Harry's wife symbolises it more than anyone. As a Californian, she is striving to portray herself as a Hollywood star without paying the dues that her hard-working and immensely more talented forebears did to acquire similar status. That, of course, accords with the fact that she is a narcissist, that she's acting with that sense of entitlement, that she believes that she should have all of these things without putting in the hard yards. The article continues. Many people in the US now see Harry's wife purely as an opportunist, leveraging the royal profile of a weak husband to build her own celebrity brand as the politically ambitious 41-year-old prepares sooner or later to run for public office. Again, that's demonstrative of her sense of entitlement, her manipulative behaviours, her absence of emotional empathy. Many also still feel sympathy for Harry because they remember him as a devastated 12-year-old walking behind his mother, Princess Diana's coffin in the full, unrelenting glare of the world's media. But the whole concept of royalty still makes very little sense to most Americans. The idea even of a prince is odd and far-fetched. So the thought of a middle-aged divorcee called Rachel from Los Angeles being the Duchess of Sussex is frankly absurd. And when Harry's wife signs with a big, shiny Hollywood talent agency, as she did last month, to build out her business ventures across multiple facets of the agency and its broader ecosystem, including film and television production and brand partnerships, Americans not only find it utterly ridiculous, but dislike her even more. Every week, as she continues to cry foul, pity play, and plead for much-needed hypocrisy, she demands yet more publicity, and signs multi-million-dollar deals which are dependent on her having a huge public profile. The hypocrisy is breathtaking, and this country has finally woken up to it. That's not to say Harry's wife hasn't achieved something remarkable in America by profoundly challenging racial stereotypes which run extremely deep. For a mixed-race American woman to join the British royal family, a 1,000-year-old dynasty which is the epitome of white privilege, and at least initially, do so with such style and grace is genuinely still staggering. This is especially true given she comes from a country where today there is one black senator from the Republican Party in the US Senate. The Democratic Party don't fare much better with only 2. In fact, in its entire 234-year history, there have been just 11 black senators. Considering there are nearly 50 million people who identify as black or African American in the United States, those are truly woeful figures, and shows what an impact the mixed-race Duchess has had on this racially divided society. By some, of course, she is envied. She stole the heart of a handsome prince and is living an extraordinary life despite her humble beginnings. But when there is such hatred and division in America today, a society struggling to work out its place in the modern world, one thing people really don't appreciate is being lectured to by someone seemingly so obsessed by ambition, money, and publicity. An actress turned princess turned duchess turned campaigner turned victim. Shows the, of course, chameleon nature of Harry's wife. In a high-inflation post-pandemic world, with the overvalued stock and housing markets on the brink of a once-in-a-generation crashes and 6 million unemployed, the United States and its people have more than enough problems. What we don't need is a self-entitled one in Monty Shitshow that makes the whole country look out of touch, arrogant, and hypocritical. America gave Harry's wife a chance, and now, honestly, America has had a gutful. So Harry's wife, please, stop bleating, stop lecturing us, stop demanding privacy and then hiring expensive publicists. In fact, please just stop. If you don't, America, like Britain, will completely turn against you. Whether you agree with what that individual has stated or not, the fact is, it's likely that she will continue to turn America against her, because the nature of her narcissism is such that it fails to see what is coming ahead as a consequence of her actions and activities. It focuses on the now, and I have given you countless instances of the collateral consequences that are caused by the way that she focuses on the moment. Her narcissism doesn't care about what's coming down the line. All it cares about is what it must do in the moment. And notwithstanding this plea from this author to say to Harry's wife, stop, it will fall on deaf ears, because she isn't capable, as a consequence of her narcissism, of understanding what's being said to her, but rather she just sees it through the lens of control and regards it as a threat to control, and therefore it is to be dismissed. This is why Harry's wife will continue to alienate people and continue to plummet in her popularity. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.